The Powers Project.
Dawn, how in the heck are you today, young lady?
I am wonderful, Kurt. How are you?
I'm doing great. I
Hi,
hope
Sleepy.
it's like I'm doing great, except I'm not sleeping. Most of the people who watch my show know I've had an issue with this for the past month, and it hasn't gotten it got better for a little bit, then it went back to not being able to sleep again. So, but luckily I have you as a guest today because I probably couldn't have a better guest for the way I'm feeling today because it's all about having a conversation, and I feel like I can do that. So hopefully I can do it decently. So um, I wanted to talk about what you do. You're the founder of a foundation that you created called Desire to Inspire. You are an author of a book called Be, and now if I'm not mistaken, you have a new book, Recipes of Being.
Yeah, we're actually at 8 books now.
Oh,
The latest one is Recipes for Being the Power of Happy.
where in the world do you find all this time? Seriously, the guests I have on the show, there's times where I think I do quite a bit. And then I have guests on like you, and I feel like I'm not doing anything. I'm just, these people are running circles around me. Where do you find that time to do all this stuff?
There are 24 hours in a day, and I have help with people, from people around the world. And I love what I do. I love getting to connect with people. I love getting to inspire people. So, that's my hobby. It's my hobby, it's my passion, it's my work. And so, if you think about all the time we spend doing things like watching TV or, watching a sporting event or something, that's a lot of time that we have.
That's true.
So I just maximize it.
So you have a line of bee products because I just noticed back there you have a bee pillow. Bee, what's that say? Bee something love?
You love.
Yeah, they're very cool. So, all right. So let's talk about your foundation, Desire to Inspire. What is that about? What do you do with that foundation? What inspired you to start this foundation?
Well, I was a stay-at-home mom raising my daughters their whole lives. And when they got into college, I was like, what are my hopes and dreams? I was helping them to get to theirs, and I had forgotten about mine because they were my purpose, they were my passion, they were my everything. So you turn on the news and you see, fires and floods and destruction and devastation all the time. That's all it is, negative news constantly. And I just thought, I know so many people in this world doing tremendous things. So I wanted to kind of share those inspiring stories with people. And then I went to Africa the first time, and the people there inspire me beyond anything I've ever seen before. I mean, they are struggling for things like clean water and food on a daily basis. Yet Mama Josephine in Uganda has taken 57 children, 67 children in. She doesn't know where her next meal is coming from, yet she doesn't turn a child away. So I wanted to share those kind of stories because if after going the first time, I don't take anything for granted anymore. Things don't bother me. I used to be upset, if my plumbing is leaking or my car battery died. And now I'm like, you know what? I'll take care of it. Things don't faze me anymore because there are things that you can take care of. I have food, I have clean water. So it's changed my perspective, and I want to help other people get to that place where they have peace and happiness in their life, and they don't sweat the small stuff as much.
So what is it that you do exactly to help people realize that? Because what you're discussing, what we all have in this country is our first world problems. Like you said, oh, the plumbing's leaking. It's like, at least we have plumbing. We don't have to walk a mile down to the river to get water and bring it back, and so it seems like those who have the most complain the most. Like, you would think that we're supposed to be the happier one, and we're not.
Well, and that's one of the things that I have found astounding, and so I feel like I can help in Africa we are drilling a borehole. We've drilled, this will be our third one. We're providing like basic food, necessities on a month-to-month basis. We would like to move Mama Josephine into sustainable housing. She's all crowded in with like 67 kids in a tiny house, she shares a bed with 5 children, so I would like that situation to get better. But meet basic needs, but also love them. Let them know that they are special and that they're here for a reason. They're not just, existing here on this planet, taking up space. I want them to know that. And so get the resources flowing to the right people there. But I also want to help people here because we're at a soul deficit. The number of children, I probably should look up the statistic, the number of children, adults that are on antidepressants, girls that are cutting themselves, boys that are cutting themselves, things like that. It's like, we are so very blessed, yet we are so sad.
Right.
So I want to help our souls here and help them with physical resources there.
I have a theory. Tell me what you think of this theory. And I know that it's dangerous right now to put out theories when I'm tired, but I think we'll go with this one. I have a theory that the reason why in this country we see not just adults but even children who deal with anxiety and depression and things of that nature, I believe they just have too much damn time on their hands. When you're fighting for survival for your life, to get water, to get food, and that's what's on your agenda for the day. Not, oh, how much time am I going to spend on Facebook or Instagram and take selfies, and I don't mean to demean that, but when you put things into perspective and going, okay, this is how these people live, and these people live to survive. You're over here in such comfort that that's not even a thought to you. You just turn on a faucet or you get, grab something out of the fridge or whatever, and it's there for you all the time. You don't even think about it. So you have all this excess time on your hands that you don't know what to do with, and you find things to get anxious about. You find things to be depressed about. I mean, again, it's just a theory, but it just seems like when you have that much time on your hands with nothing to do, it lends itself to those kind of mental disorders, if you will.
Yeah. And, I speak a lot about purpose, about living a purposeful life, finding purpose in your life, because when we're kind of aimlessly just existing, waking up every day, doing the same routine, and we're not doing it with passion, it's just like, okay, I got to go to work. I got to do this. I got to do this. Got to pay the bills. You aren't living in that place of like creativity and the thing that stirs your soul and it makes you want to get up out of bed every morning. Like, what do I get to do today? This morning I'm kind of tired because I helped do a 24-hour global telethon yesterday. It was called Confluence of Excellence by Tribe Ripples. And it was amazing, but it was a lot of hours, on and off the camera and stuff. But this morning I was like, oh, I'm just tired, but I'm like, I get to do Kurt's show. So
well, I appreciate it. I was up with you in spirit, at least. So yeah, so you talk about purpose, and one of the things is that I've heard people say this before. They go, well, the first man didn't have a purpose, and I go, wrong. He absolutely, people absolutely had a purpose, and it was to survive, and they did it with passion, because if they didn't get food or water, they were going to die. And so they were very passionate about their purpose, which was to live. I go, now we've gone to this point of comfortness, that is that even a word, comfort, to where we don't, like you said, people don't even, I've asked people sometimes, what are you passionate about? And they go, nothing. I go, nothing? You can't think of one thing? And they don't.
Or they're passionate about their favorite sports team, which, again, there's nothing wrong with that. Or, the Kardashians, what they're wearing, or, pop culture or some movie, or, whatever that is. And so they're still missing their own personal purpose. What can we contribute to the world? Being a spectator in life is not living our purpose. It's existing. And I want to do more than just exist. I want to make an impact while I'm here.
Right. Well, it sounds like you definitely are. And I think that's the key right there, is that I think in particularly in this country, we're so self-centered. We always think about us, and we don't think about others. And if you've never helped other people, you don't know what kind of joy that brings. I swear to you, I'm with you. I don't think there's very few things that bring more joy in the world than being able to help other people and helping them better their lives. And maybe the birth of your child or something might be a little better, but I mean, it ranks right up there with that. And I think because we've become such a self-centered nation that so many people don't even know what that feels like. And if they just got a taste of it, they would probably go like you did when you went to Africa and go, holy crap, I want to do this. I want to help people. I see what life is about, you know. Would you agree with
It's
that?
always been. It's always been who I was ever since I was little. You know, I was a candy striper as soon as I could, volunteer at the retirement home. It's always been part of my nature. But, you know, there's one of my favorite quotes in the whole world. It's by Ralph Waldo Emerson. And the last sentence says, to know that even one life has breathed easier because you've existed, that is to have succeeded. Like, that's why I'm here. And if I can do it for more than one, you know, I'm going to, because
Right.
you, that sense of fulfillment you get from that, like there's nothing I could do that would make me happier than to know that I changed somebody's life by something I said or something I did.
Because you know, here's the truth of it. Because when that happens, I truly believe that you or me, whoever does it, we receive a bigger gift than the person that we helped. I mean, we get more out of it, and than the people who've been helped. Honestly, do you think? Because you said you know you've done this all your life. You were a candy striper when you were younger and stuff, and I did, and I've done this all my life too. I've helped elderly people, you know, clean out their homes, like who were hoarders and stuff. I'll never forget when I was a kid, and did all kinds of things like that. Um, so, do you think this is something that it's sort of like innate, or do you think that anybody can do this at any age? They just need to be introduced to it.
You know, I think to married to varying degrees, like this is who I was. I mean, this is how I've been called on this earth to be, you know, a mother. I love mothering people, nurturing people, whether it's a child or an adult or an animal, doesn't matter. That's like strong in my soul. But I think we all have special gifts. So, you know, say you're really good at math and you're an accountant, you can still be of service to people using your gifts. You create art. You can be of service by making people happy with the gift that you have. So we all have the ability to add value to the world with what our innate gifts are. You know, mine happens to be loving people, you know, and when I remember sitting there like one day, kind of meditating, kind of talking to God, whatever. And I said, what am I good at? You know, what am I good at? And I got, what I heard was, you're good at loving people. And I'm like, what do you do with that? Do you put that on your bio? I'm really good at loving people. Hire me. But love, I'm sorry. Love is our highest currency. Love is the reason that we're here. So if I'm good at that, then I feel blessed.
You make a very good point here. You know, you can give in any way that you choose, and it will feel good. I think when you give personally, like physically, when you give of your time, not just money, because it's easy to throw money at problems. We give to the American Cancer Society, or you know, whatever, the AIDS Foundation, or whatever we donate to. There's a sense of feeling good about, you know, helping out these organizations. I don't think it comes close to the feeling that you get when you give of your time, when you personally show up and help people out. I just think it's magnified 1,000 times over easily. And so that's what you do. That's what you're talking about is, you know, even if it's not like you said, your higher purpose was to love people, and my higher purpose might be to accounting, but my accounting skills can help these people grow. It can help them invest in the future for themselves, you know, or in some way or another. And so I'm giving them my time so I can get just as much satisfaction out of that as maybe you could in hugging and loving people. So because I'm giving them what I can do
Yeah.
best.
Yeah. Somebody said something about, well, you know, you don't get paid. And I said, well, I don't get paid in money for the work that I do with the foundation. I get paid in love. And again, love is my highest currency. So I do get paid. It is just not in the way that we're used to seeing what compensation looks like.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. When you do things just for money, it's, you know, it's not, then you're not doing it for the right reason, and you're never going to receive the blessings. And I hate using that word because it's sort of, but that's what it is. It's a blessing. The blessings that you receive, you would never get if you were in it for the money, regardless of what else that came with it. I don't, because you know that without money you wouldn't be doing this. And so it's not an altruistic reason for what you do. Now it is, and that's not to say that you can't make money. It's not to say that somewhere down the road you can't, that in one way or another you can't make money. I think that whenever you can, you should. But the fact that you put people first and making sure that they're taken care of, that's the most important thing.
Well, they're the why. And
Right.
so the things that I do, like the products and things, that is the how to help the why. But the why is always there. It is to help as many people as I can. And those children that I know in Africa and around the world, I love children everywhere, but these, I know them. I've hugged them. I've helped them with their homework. I've helped them bathe. I consider them my children, and I can't ever just walk away, because you don't just walk away from your kids. I mean, I know some people do, but I could never.
Right.
My children are my everything. So I want to make sure they're okay. And I want to see them do great things in this world.
What do your children and your husband think about what you do? Are they behind you 100%?
Well, I'm not married anymore. This was kind of the thing that ended the marriage because, as I said, I mentioned earlier, I was a stay-at-home mom for many years. And so when I started doing my own thing, like, the laundry didn't get done as often and things like that. So it just but that's fine. My children, they thought I was crazy, but they know I'm crazy. They've always known this, but they're very proud of me.
That's very cool. Yeah, sometimes guys just can't handle it when they have to do their own laundry. So
he never had to do his own laundry.
So I just had a brilliant idea, which I happen to come up with quite often. I was just thinking, because so many people lack purpose in this country, they don't know what their purpose is. And I think, again, because they've never had experiences that to direct them down a certain path. Have you ever thought of setting up a tour, like tours for, like, I would ask people, like, are you struggling to find your purpose? I have a tour that will change your life, because it sounds like that's exactly what you have.
Yeah, we were actually planning. Well, I was planning a volunteer trip last October, and then we know what happened in 2020. Right. So 2021, I was planning this October, hoping that, this would be behind us, and clearly it's not. So I'm not sure now. I mean, I'm thinking maybe March, but, everything's kind of up in the air. But I do want people to come and see the beauty of Africa and feel that life-changing feel. When you watch them dance and the children they're seeing and they're happy, you look at the poverty that they're living in, yet they're still joyous. It's life-changing and it's profound. So I do want to bring people, but that's what I write my books about. I want to help people find their own, tap into those own, gifts and skills, things that you love, that you're passionate about, to help you find your direction so that you can, live your greatest life.
Right. And again, you make another great point. People I've always seen who are in poverty, who have very little, are always the most giving and always the happiest. Why is that?
I think that they don't depend on things to make them happy. They are living, and that is they're happy.
Yeah.
That is their joy. And because they do have struggles, when they can celebrate, they do.
Right. And they appreciate it. And I think that's the other thing too, in our country, where things come quite easy, even for those who struggle in this country. I can say that 99.9999% of them don't struggle the way people do in third worlds. They have no idea what a real struggle is. Yes, I'm not demeaning their struggle that they have here, because compared to you or I, it might be quite a struggle. But compared to people in third world countries, it doesn't come close. And so you don't have that appreciation. It's sort of like the whole thing, like you complain about the kind of shoes that you wear because they're hurting your feet until you see somebody who isn't wearing shoes at all because they don't have shoes. It kind of puts things in perspective when you look at things beyond your own conditions.
Absolutely. I mean, I have often said that intellectually, I understand there's poverty and hunger throughout the world. But when you're in it, even just for a little short while, and you realize that this is all the water I have to wash these dishes. I've got to make this water last throughout all these dishes. Or, I have to take my shower like with a bucket of water because there's no shower, or it is cold if there is a shower, things like that. It just gives you a different perspective on what that feels like, even if it's for a little tiny while.
Yeah, and I think
And I will I sleep on the floor with the girls. The girls in Sierra Leone, when I first went, they were all in one little tiny room, concrete floor. They slept there, they ate there, they danced there, they did everything there. We moved them out of that one room, and they're now in a house where they all have beds. That's one of the things that we were able to do in the foundation. And to because after sleeping on the floor with them, I'm like, this is terrible. I mean, we're like sardines. So, to be able to make that kind of impact in somebody's life, that is to have succeeded.
well, I can't wait for you to do this tour, because I think the more people you get over there, they're going to have the same experience that you have, and they're going to be wanting to help. Because I don't I, I don't know what kind of person could go over there and experience something like that and not be touched by it. Honestly, you'd have to be a very cold-hearted person not to be touched by the situation that goes on in all different countries throughout the world, and see what these people have to live through and not want to help them. How could you not want to help them, seriously? So
Exactly.
so I think that's a great idea for you to do that, honestly. Not that you need my approval, I'm just saying. I think it's a great idea. Tell me
I
about
appreciate it.
tell me about your books, and tell me about like the first book that you wrote, B. What?
The first book I wrote, so I've always loved writing. And so I had read this article, it was like a social media post, and it was a dad had written like 5 different things he wanted his children to know. And I thought, I've got some things I want my daughters to always know, that like love and kindness are why we're here and how important that is, that life's going to be hard, but, keep persevering, getting through, believe in a world of infinite possibilities. So I wrote a book of quotes. I had some of my friends like give me some quotes too. And I wrote it for my daughters, and they wrote the foreword to it. And it makes me cry every time I read it, because I get the eye rolls and like, oh, mom, you're so woo woo, you're crazy, because I talk about energy and frequency and vibration and, love and kindness. And they're just like, oh. But at the end of the day, they make fun of it, but they understand it. So that was my first book. And so it's about 7 words. I chose 7 words because, there's the 7 deadly sins. And I'm really an advocate for not telling people what not to do, but to inspire them to what they can aspire to.
Right.
So my 7 words are love, inspired, grateful, strong, happy, genuine, and kind.
Okay, so how do you feel when you hear words like genuine and grateful? Because a lot of that goes around, and yet it seems cliche. It seems like people are they're using the words like, I'm grateful today for blah blah blah, and it doesn't seem like there's a lot of effort put into it. They're kind of going through the motions, because they said for the next 30 days I'm going to put 3 things I'm grateful for. And I think after day 1 or 2, they're really starting to like they're looking hard, like, okay, what else can I be grateful for? And it doesn't seem like, it seems almost like overused, if I may. That and genuine, like, be your genuine self or your unique self. And yet I find that most of the people who are saying this are not doing those things themselves.
Well, I mean, one of the things about being genuine to me, and that's why I picked genuine, is because, I think we all are unique and special. And I think when we feel like we're in competition with somebody because they're more successful or they've got cuter clothes or, whatever they have that we think, it's like, that's not for us. What's for us is meant for us. So when we can stand in our authentic self and be, have integrity, be honest, that to me, all of those are being genuine. Like telling you one thing and then telling somebody else something, that's not genuine. And I want to always show up as the same person. So if you meet me in Africa or if you meet me at the White House, just for an example, I'm still the same person every single time. And gratitude, we woke up this morning. Well, maybe you didn't because you don't sleep, but, we have breath in our bodies. Again, we have water. in our homes. We're not struggling for basic things like that. So, being grateful, I feel like, oh, that's so important.
Right.
Like if somebody does something for you, be grateful for that. Thank them. They don't have to. Nobody has to do anything for you. So great gratitude for me is huge.
I Yeah, I agree. You said something that hit home. You said one of the things before this. You said, "I don't, I don't tell people what to do. You want to inspire people to aspire to become the best them. That's what you do." And I think that's the difference between you, which is why I love you and what your message is, and people who are on Facebook telling people what to do. Like, oh, if you want to be like me, you do this. And it's like, well, first off, you're not being honest and you're not being genuine, because this isn't who you are. This may be who you want to become, but tell people that. Say, look, I'm not there yet, because that's what I'm doing. That's what I do. I go, look, I, you know, I'm writing a book right now, and I'm writing the book as I'm doing the very things that I'm telling people to do, because I said one or two things going to happen. One, the things that I tell you I'm doing that work for me, they're either going to work for me and I'm going to be a success at the end of this book, or they're not going to work for me and then the book's going to suck. So don't buy it. So but one of the two things is going to happen. But I'm not going to pretend to be something I'm not. I'm not going to pretend to be, to have a podcast that's in the top 100 podcasts in the world yet, until I and and act like, oh, I've got, let me tell you how to do a podcast. Let me sell you my program. Well, why would I sell you a program? I haven't gotten there yet, and yet there's a lot of people who do that. And so I believe that integrity and honesty are at the forefront of being genuine and being yourself, and doing the things like you said, to where you don't need to tell people, you show people, or you inspire people. And that's what my book is about, is to show people how I did it. And if I can do it, trust me, anyone can do it, because I hate writing, unlike you. And so if I get done with this one book, I will consider myself a success. So,
And when you get done.
Yeah, when I get done, exactly. And because I can't even imagine 8 books. And so I'm always amazed at people like you who can write and love writing and do so so well. So
Well, I do them in collaboration. So I've got guest authors that come in and do the collab with me. So I'm not writing all of it myself, but yeah, again, it's helping people tap into their own things that stir their soul and, bring them joy. So that's, it's not all just me.
That's a good idea. Maybe I should do that. Find somebody to help me out. Go, okay, listen, I'll tell you what I want to say. You write it down. I'm joking.
There are people that do that. They're called ghostwriters.
Exactly. So, all right. So now tell me, because I know you have more books, but tell me also about your book, Recipes of Being. Where did that come from, and what does that mean?
Recipes of Being.
Oh, recipe. Okay. That's why. See, I told you I was tired, because I was like, Recipes of Being. And I was like, okay, so she has recipes that will make you be. So I told you, you're gonna have to bear with me. I'm sorry.
No, this just makes it more fun.
People are gonna be listening. Oh, you're an idiot. That's so good. You're an idiot, Kurt. So, okay, so tell me about Recipe of Being.
Recipes for being.
Oh, for being. I'm sorry.
And they're the recipes for being the power of 7. There are 7 life coaches from all over the world who come together, and they each written a chapter, and they've taken one word. And so there's a story in it about the word. There's some exercises and some things, again, to kind of like help tap into the inner things, where you start at, like when I asked that question, like, what am I good at? It is, helping you to ask yourself, like, what things do you love doing? What things bring you tremendous happiness? I don't think we sit there and think about that. We think, well, this car make me happy, or going out to dinner, or this restaurant make me happy, but really the things that make your soul happy, the things that you would do, whether you got paid to do them or not, those things, so that you can, again, live into your best self. Because, again, I think most people just live their life, doing the same thing, going to work, paying the bills, coming home, eating dinner, going to bed, waking up. I want people to go out into where the scary part is, where it's like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to take a leap of faith, and I'm going to do it, because that's where the magic and transformation happens.
With people going through life, everyday life, like you just said, I correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what I kind of get from it. I think people are so, like, they're so tired by the time they get home because of everything that they do with their job, and whether it's physical or mental, and they're just wiped. And so people become accustomed to mindless entertainment. It's like, I want to come home, sit down, watch some mindless TV, and not have to think. And so what you were saying, for people to find their passion, they have to put some time in. They have to be introspective, and that takes some effort. Because I've asked people, "What is it you're passionate about?" And they go, "I don't know." And I go, "Have you given it any thought?" And they give it like a little thought, but they don't really want to put a lot of effort into it. And I don't get that. I go, I would want to know that more than anything. But it's much easier to refer to the mindless entertainment to take away, their time. Like you said, you could sit there and watch sports all day, or cartoons, or whatever you're into. But you choose to do something else with your time, and that's why you have so much time to do the things that you do, and be as productive as you are, and help as many people as you do. And I think that's key. I think that's also why 80% of the people, if we do the I can't remember his name, it starts with a P. I'm not going to massacre his name, so I'll just say the 80-20 uh, theory is that 80% of the people are one way, 20% are the other way. And I believe 80% of the people are believers, because it's easier to be a believer than an inquisitor. People who are inquisitors tend to be more free thinking, critical thinking. They're free, they look at things from different perspectives. Believers just want to be told what to believe, and that's what they'll believe. And they don't want those beliefs questioned. And
Mm.
and I think that in order to do what you do, you have to be an inquisitor. You have to be somebody who's willing to put the time and effort in to find out what your passion is, to be able to do things, not even necessarily on your level, but to be able to do something that will help others and benefit others, which of course, like we said earlier, will benefit us as well.
Yeah, there's one of my favorite ads. I don't know if you've ever seen that Apple ad. The crazy ones are the ones. The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones that do. And
Right.
whenever I watch that, it gives me goosebumps, because it is true. Like, you can think we're crazy, but if you know there's something in the world that you don't like that is existing, then try to do something to change it. Can I eradicate poverty myself? No, but I can do something. It's like the starfish story. Like, I can't help every single person that's impoverished. That's just not possible. I'm only one person, but I can help some people, and I can create a ripple effect, because all I ask those children that I work with is, I've helped you. I want you to help somebody else. That's how you pay this forward. And that's how the ripple gets extended.
And and it's important that you just made an important point. There's so much that goes on in the world. There's no possible way that you could address all the problems of the world, and even try to put a hand in more than one or two of those things. So find what it is that you're passionate about. You found these children over in Africa, and you saw that, their situation, and said, I want to help them. I happen to be helping the rhino orphanage over in South Africa myself. They're the cause that I've chosen because I love rhinos. I don't know how, but I came one day to love rhinos, and I just think they're the cutest thing, especially little baby rhinos, cutest thing you ever seen. And so they actually take in baby rhinos where the mother's been killed for the torn, or it's been attacked, or something like that. And they take these baby rhinos in, and they nurse them back to health and until adulthood, and then they'll let them back out on a reservation so that they're protected. So but that's one cause, and that, but that's the cause that I found that I love, that I love the people who work there. They're just amazing, amazing people. And 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 here you are helping children, and someone else could help senior citizens. So you don't have to do what you do. And everyone doesn't have to do what you do or what I do. They can do their own thing and what they have an interest.
Right. Right. I mean, I have a friend who rescues dogs in Los Angeles. She's been doing this for years. Um, I love that she does that. I can't do what she does. I love dogs,
Right.
but I would have 100 and I wouldn't be able to do what she does. So, I know my limitations. So that's not clearly not my thing, but I'm so grateful that she exists. I have another friend who she started an organization called the Beauty Bus. They go into hospitals and they do home visits to people that are going through cancer treatments, chemotherapy, things like that, that can't get out of the house, and they, do their nails and do their hair, make them feel better, because, they're going through terrible things, like give them some dignity and, make them, lift their soul and spirit a little bit. I love that she's doing that. Another friend takes care of pregnant women and helps teaching them how to, go through the childbirth process and help them get jobs and get back on their feet, things like that. I'm grateful for her. We all have something we can give in our own unique way. So I would never belittle somebody. And people have said it to me. Well, there are people that are hungry in your own backyard. Why are you going to Africa? You know what? There are people that are helping those people. And if they come into my sphere, I will help them too. So it's not like I don't help people here, but my focus is there because, that's where I was called. And it's always been, and ever since I was a little girl, I've always wanted to go to Africa. And I don't know why, but maybe, my soul always knew that this was coming.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think it manifests itself. Like there's just certain things that I'm the same way. When I was a kid, there were certain things I just knew, and it manifested itself later on in life. Whether my thoughts did that or whatever, I found it to come true. So I'm sure that's the case with you. What do you do? Do you have a program or anything to help people I know we talked about you doing this tour when COVID's finally over and you can travel again, but do you have a program or have something set up where people can learn to find their purpose, to be able to progress in that down that path?
Yeah, we're actually currently working on that right now,
Oh, very cool.
putting together an online program where people can, they'll have access to some writing things, they'll have access to an online, virtual meeting so that we can, come together as a community, help each other, support each other, and, things like that. So that we were shooting for mid-September to get that launched. So that is what I'm currently working on.
That's very cool. Well, that's not far away. So
I know.
because I think that's something that people certainly need. And I don't, and maybe there's something like that out there, but I haven't seen it and I haven't heard of it. And I've always thought, if there's a lot of people who are lost, and maybe they just need someone to show them, the light, the sort of to speak, so that they can find their own way. If you can just show them light, they might be able to find their own way once they see that. But right now, I think so many people are just in darkness and they don't see any path, and so they don't go anywhere. They just do the same thing day in and day out, like you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, and you know what? I used to be that person too for a while until I said, "What am I doing with my life?" I can only play Angry Birds so many times. At the end of my day, is that going to be on my headstone? She reached level 5,000 in Angry Birds. I'm so sorry. So, yeah, I think you have to get to a place in your life where you ask yourself the questions and you want something else. You want more. You want, more happiness. You want more in your life. Some people don't want that. They're just perfectly comfortable, doing what they do. And that's fine too. I want to touch those people who want more.
Right. Exactly. And that's the thing. You're right, because not everybody's going to want more. And like you said, that's perfectly fine. I tell people, Be honest with yourself. Don't pretend to be something that you're not, and don't try to be something for someone else, because it will never. You'll be miserable. If you don't have that, like if you really don't have a desire to do anything other than what you're doing, and you're happy there, then do that. But but
Yeah.
be honest with yourself, and take real inventory of yourself, and ask yourself the hard questions. Am I really happy where I'm at? And if not, then find out what it's going to take for you to become happy. So, and I
Yeah,
think
well, some people don't want to be happy.
that's
They're happy with being content.
that's very, very true. And if you don't, folks, if you don't believe us, just go on. I'm sure everyone's gone on Facebook, and you can see how many unhappy people who don't want to be happy are on Facebook. I see it all day long. It's just, and I don't even go on Facebook anymore, but I can't. In fact, I got a thing back from my phone yesterday. It shows like the time that you spend on different apps and stuff. I spent an entire 10 minutes on Facebook, and I can't even believe I spent that much time for the entire week on Facebook. And it's because I don't have the patience with people who just want to complain all the time. They're not looking for solutions. They just want to complain because they just want to be unhappy. They want to be offended. They want to be pissed, and they're not looking for answers. They're just wanting to be a victim. And I just don't have patience for people anymore like that. When I was younger, I used to try to save those people and go, listen, you don't have to be a victim. But now I go, here, when you find people who will give you more excuses than you give solutions, you know that you could have an infinite number of solutions, and they're going to have an infinite number of excuses. And so you're just wasting your breath at that point. So, but again, for a program set up like what you're doing, for people who do want change, for people who do want to change their own life and become happy, I'm glad that you're putting a program like that together, because I think that a lot of people will appreciate that.
I'm so sorry. I think one of the things I really want people to understand is happiness doesn't come from outside. Happiness comes from inside.
Right.
And once you get that, you're halfway there.
That's right. And you're absolutely correct. And I still see people today trying to find happiness due to things that they buy, and what happens is, I think it gives them this little dopamine rush when they buy something like a big screen TV. They bring it home, and they're so happy for a day or two, and then they go back to being the same person they were after that first couple of days, because the novelty of that item is worn off, because that's not true happiness. And
Yeah, stuff doesn't make us happy.
right.
Stuff is just stuff.
What do you think about these people who, like these self-help gurus, who are all about money and making money in any way that you can, and every, like, I know there's a lot of them out there who are just so radical about, you need to make if you haven't made $1 million yet, then you shouldn't be taking weekends off, that kind of nonsense. And I go, it's not about the money, dude. You don't, and I hate that so many people fall in the trap in believing that's what's going to make them happy. That's what their end goal should be.
I mean, being able to pay your bills and eat is always like a nice thing. But, again, it's not the thing that we should be chasing. It is a byproduct of the thing
Right.
that we're chasing, which again is being of value to this world. We get a limited number of years here on this earth. So what are we going to do with those years? What do we want to leave behind after we're gone? Our children clearly, but not everybody has children. So what else can we leave to make a positive impact? And it doesn't mean to be famous or anything like that. It just means, did you touch people's lives? Do people remember you and think, you know what? That person made a difference. That person saw me. That person cared about me. That's what I want to leave. As many of those people sprinkled around the planet as I can.
Right. So I'm going to ask you to comment on anyone in particular, but going back to what we were just talking about with people who, because you're right, money, it's nice to have money, because money affords you opportunities. It affords you, um, choices. And it affords you freedom, certain freedoms that you don't have without money, certain choices that you wouldn't be able to make without money. but when those people continue to go, okay, well, my choice is to make even more money. Like I want to accumulate as much as I can. So I'm not happy with one house or two houses or three houses. I want to have a house on every continent. I want, like when the goal is just more material things instead of who can I help? How can I give back? What do you what are your thoughts on that? And again, I know people have to be their true authentic self, but if that's their true authentic self, do you think that maybe they should reevaluate themselves themselves or what?
It's not my place to say what choices
Right.
anybody else makes. For me personally, that's not ever been an option. I want to make an impact here in this world. So the way I spend my money is, doing things in Africa and things like that, because that's how I feel pulled to do, or spend my assets, things like that. But everybody makes their own choices. So again, I'm not of judgment one way or the other. Like I'm a vegetarian, right? I haven't eaten meat for 30 years. And if somebody will say, well, does it offend you if I eat meat? And I'm like, no, because it's none of my business what you do.
Right.
So I stay in my lane, and I'm very clear on, like, I can only make choices. I can't even make choices for my own children. I allow them to make their own choices because it's their life. And so, whatever anybody else does, it's none of my business.
Right. And that's well said. It's well said. Because again, people will get upset with others who have money, and I tell them, you didn't make the money. Why do you think you should have a say so as to what they do with their money? I mean, sure, I would like for them to do other things with their money, but I didn't make it. It's theirs. And to assume that you know better as to what they should do with their money is no different than people who assume that they know what kind of lifestyle you should live, the things that you should do. And so you're playing the same role of people that you despise when they do it to you. And I don't think they see the hypocrisy in that.
Yeah, I just think, I leave judgment up to a higher source. So I guess, I don't, but if there are certain things that I will keep my energy far away from, like people that are dishonest, things like that. But as far as that kind of stuff, like, again, I'm in my lane, I'm doing my thing. I don't have time to, like, even think about what anybody else does with their own personal finances or their choices in anything.
So
Yes, I'm.
so when will you all right, so now that COVID has been around for over a year now, you haven't been able to go over to Africa since then. So what's been going on with the foundation since COVID hit?
Oh gosh. Well, so we were planning on doing days of purpose and having speakers come and meet with the children and talk to them, not about careers as much as how they've overcome adversity, how they got from where they started to where they are. I wanted to inspire those children so they knew this is possible for me too. So we were going to start putting those together. We're going to have the first one, I think, in March of 2020. And then we're going to do some more in June, but clearly, no public gatherings and things like that. And then we were going to do the volunteer trips. So I had to really kind of say, okay, everything I've been working on for the past 6 months, I can't do any of it. So now where do I go? And that's when the shopping site, I was able to put up my shopping site. So I'm like, okay, I will focus on what I can focus on now, which is, writing a few more books and getting this shopping site going. And I've been working on a skincare line. I've got a body butter and a coffee scrub. And these things I have created so that when you buy any of my items, $7 from every purchase goes to the foundation. Because I've said this a million times, like, donations to me are sacred. I've been a volunteer asking for donations almost my entire adult life. And so I'm like, if somebody gives me $1 to feed a child in Africa, $1 is going to feed a child in Africa. It's not covering my expenses. It's not covering website costs. It's not covering my travel. So I wanted to create a way where I could earn an income without asking for a donation and be able to spend it for things, the expenses and stuff, while raising the money to do the work. So I don't even know if I answered your question just now.
No, that did. So 100% of everything that you take in goes over to the foundation? You
No,
don't.
no, no,
I was
no. From the website, the shopping site. No, $7 from each
okay.
purchase.
Okay, gotcha. I was gonna say you need because you're gonna go broke if you don't take care of your expenses.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know. No, but I'm saying for donations. Like if somebody makes just a donation to Desire to Inspire Foundation, that donation goes exactly where I say, not 90 cents of it, not 80 cents, 100%.
Right.
And there's even some costs involved with wiring the money or transferring it over, but I just eat that just because, again, I know what their situation is. And so for me, it's more important that they get those funds than it is for me to keep those funds. But that's why, again, this is coming. The courses are coming, the volunteer trips. I'm doing things to earn the income so I can leave those donations being the cherished things that they are to me.
Right. So, do you have plans to visit Africa again anytime soon? I know that it's going to be dependent upon when this thing passes, if it ever does. I have great hope that it will soon.
Well, Uganda is back in lockdown, and they said it was going to be the next 2 months. So I was planning October. My friend Larita and I were planning a co-trip to get like 40 people to come. But that's not going to happen this October. So I'm looking at March right now. But again, everything's kind of up in the air. So I'm not making any like serious plans because I just have no idea what's happening in the world.
Right. So, but you do have your program that's coming out in mid-September, and you do have your line that you still are very active with. So tell for those who are listening in the car, I'll make sure that I have all your links listed below on both the podcast and on the YouTube channel. But tell people where they can find you, what they can do to help out. Whether it's through donations, whether it's through purchasing your line, whether it's taking your program or donating their own time. Tell people what they can do and where they can go to find you.
Thank you for that. Well, they can find pictures of our beautiful children and some of the work we've done at desiretoinspirefoundation.org, the shopping site. There's also a link in the top that says shop, donate and shop. So you can click on the shop and it'll take you to the shopping site, or you can go directly to the belineproducts.com, and it's belineproducts.com. And then you'll see again, the pillows, got some blankets, t-shirts, sweatshirts, and then my body butter and coffee scrub, my perfume and candles. So we're adding more things. We have water bottles coming out, which I'm really excited about. So that's where they can find all of those things. And I love the shopping site because it gives people a little something to remind them to be happy or to be loved or to be kind while they're also supporting something greater.
I like t-shirts a lot, and that's because you can read the t-shirt. So if you forget, you can just look down and go, "Oh, I need to be kind." Sometimes I need to remind myself of that, especially when I'm driving in traffic.
Yeah, see, I used to be like that too. I live in Los Angeles. So
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
but I'm not even like that now anymore. Just because, again, I'm just so grateful and it's such peace. It's like, I'm not going to lose my peace because that driver is a jerk.
Right, right. Well, I don't normally do that anymore either, but that's because I take Uber. So I'm joking. No, I have gotten a lot better. Years ago I was horrible, absolutely horrible. But nowadays there's very seldom things that bother me. I just get because as you get older, you get wiser. I got
Yeah.
older before I got wiser, but it's gradually. And so it's like, what am I getting myself so upset about? It never ends. Like that person isn't going to learn anything. It's
Right.
no matter
But
what. Right.
you've robbed yourself of your peace.
Right. Exactly. That's all that happens. And then you stew about it. And then you're going, and then, and then it ruins your day or your night or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do that anymore. It's just complete nonsense. And so,
The cost is too high. The cost is too
right.
high.
It is. And it's the cost is to you. And that's, I think most people don't understand that. Even if you're in the right, even if you are right, it's not worth it. You're not going to
Mhm.
teach people a lesson. That was, I think, the hardest thing for me is that something that you said, and it keeps resonating with me, is that you don't want to teach, you're not telling people. And see, I always felt like I was the teacher of the world. I had to teach people like this is what you do and this is what you do. And it's like, no, that's not what they want. They don't hear you when you talk like that. They hear when you show them like you do, and you inspire them by through actions and not just words, and tell them, oh, this is what you need to do. And so I love your approach to that.
A few years ago, I was on Rakupa Wharf in Sierra Leone. We had moved the girls off of this wharf where they were living, but I wanted to go back because all of the people and the little children that were still living there, it was very dirty. So we were there on a community cleanup day where they literally shut down the whole country and everybody is required to be outside cleaning their communities. So we had to wake up super early because you couldn't be on the street. All the stores were closed. And, I was tired. I had just gotten to Sierra Leone late the night before. I was thirsty. I was hungry. We'd been out there since early morning. And this woman had come over and we bought some cookies and given the people that were helping us like a little bit of money, just to thank them for the extra effort they were putting into it. And she wasn't doing anything. She was out there yelling at some guy earlier in the day when I was out playing with the kids and stuff. And she came over and started yelling at us because she didn't get any cookies or any money. And as she's sitting there, like, telling us off, in my head, I'm like, are you kidding? Like, lady, I just gave away all my money. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. But then I thought, you know what? I am here for love and kindness. I cannot react to what she's doing. So I let her finish. And I said, I am so sorry we ran out. And then I walked away. And I was like, you know what? That felt more powerful than had I said, are you kidding me, lady? And so again, we get to choose that every single interaction we have at all times.
Yes, you're right. And that's the lesson that took me a long time to learn. It's like you can act instead of react. And that's what you did. You acted on, and you took a second, thought about it and go, this is what I want to do. And this is what I'm going to do, rather than just fly off the handle like I would have done and said some choice words, I'm sure. So
I was thinking
cookies. So yeah, like I said, it took me a little while to learn that lesson, but I think I've got it down pretty good now. So, so forgive me if you went over everything, because again, I've been up forever. Did we go over all the sites and everything that people can reach you?
Yes, but I can say it one more time. You can find us at desirettoinspirefoundation.org and thebeelineproducts.com.
Excellent. Very good. Well, Dawn, I really appreciate you being on the show. I love what you do. The reason I love having people like you on the show is because I learn from you. I truly learn from you. Like this whole, it's not so much like maybe I don't already know it, but you reinforce it in me. Like with that whole thing about, inspire people rather than tell people. And I agree with you 1,000%. I just think that's such a great message. And so I'll take that to heart. I don't know how long it'll last with me, but hopefully it'll last longer each time I take it. And I'll think,
well, you have my number, so.
Right, exactly. I'll have to give you a call. Dawn, what was that thing I had to do again? So if you want to come back on when you have your program up and running for, to help people to go down that path to be happier, I'll be glad to have you on, or, just let me know and I'll put whatever you want me to put out there for you. Cause I just think it's a worthy cause. And I'm very happy that we have people like you here on this planet to make it a better place. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Kurt. It has been a pleasure and I look forward to doing this again. If there's anything I can do for you, please let me know.
Find me a way to get sleep. No, I'm joking.
I'll look up an herbal tea for you.
Oh, thank you. Well, listen, thank you very much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. And folks, thank you for joining us. Please forgive me for my silliness. As you know, I haven't been asleep, but thank goodness Dawn was here to save me and make this conversation not go too crazy. So thanks for joining us. And until next time, take care. Be safe. And for right now, I know some of you don't like this, but wear your mask. Bye.